start let's slideshow today.
Pengen nih makan, ini kan.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem ila yawmiddin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa halul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Poem, dear learners. Inshallah, today we will be looking at verses 123 to 126 of Surah Al-Araaf. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال فرعون آمنتم به قبل أن آذن لكم إن هذا لمكر مكرتموه في المدينة لتخرجوا منها أهلها فسوف تعلمون. لأقطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم من خلاف ثم لأصلبنكم أجمعين. قالوا إنا إلى ربنا منقلبون. وما تنقموا منا إلا أن آمنا بآيات ربنا لما جاءتنا. ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. صدق الله العظيم. So we have been looking at the story of Musa alayhi salam and Firaun, the episode that happened between them, the battle between them, and the episode of the magicians. So what happened was, on the day of the festival, on the day of a big festival, Musa alayhi salam and Firaun had gathered in the common place, the people watching them, and they had decided that there will be a contest of sorcery. So we have already seen that Musa alayhi salam had the upper hand because he overpowered the magicians in their magic. So what we will be looking at today, the verses that we will be looking at today, is what happened after the magicians accepted that Musa alayhi salam's work or his magic was not merely magic, it was a miracle. It was something that was beyond their power. And so they said that we believe in the God of Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. Our magic is definitely much lower. It cannot be compared to the miracle that was performed by Musa alayhi salam with the permission of Allah. This is divine. And so they completely submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is what happened after that we will be looking at today. Qala Fir'auna, said Fir'aun, Amantum bihi, you believe in him? That is, Fir'aun is asking to the magicians, to the sorcerers, do you believe in him? In who? In Musa alayhi salam. Qabla an, before that, Adana lakum, I give permission to you. Inna hada, verily this, or indeed this, la makrun, surely it is a plot. Makartumuhu, you have plotted it. Fil madinati, in the city, litukhriju, so that you may drive out minha, from it, ahlaha, its people. فَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ, but soon you will know. So Firaun says, do you believe before you have my permission? He expects that he should give permission to people to even believe. That is the amount of tyranny that was there in the land of Egypt at that time. Surely this is the plot that you have contrived to drive out the rulers from the capital. So soon you shall see. So now the Pharaoh is asking, oh, you believe in him? You accept him as a messenger before I even give permission to you? How dare you accept him as the messenger of God? I am the deity. I am your supreme deity. I am your God. How can you bow down to someone else before me? Before I can even, and even if you are to do so, then I have to give you permission to do so. How can you do it before I give you permission? So in Surah Shu'ara, which we will be seeing later, Firaun accuses Musa alayhi salam of being the big chief who taught people or who taught the sorcerers magic. But here in this accusation, in this verse, whom does he talk to? He directly talks to the sorcerers, the magicians itself, and he accuses them. First, in Surah Shura, he accuses Musa alayhi salam as a plot, someone who has come up with a plot to drive out the people. Here, he accuses the magicians that you have come up with the plot to drive out the rulers from from the capital, or that is from the city. So now this is the extent of tyranny or the amount of oppression that was there in Egypt at that time could easily be imagined from what we are seeing here today. See, what does tyranny or what does oppression or oppressive rule do to the people? When someone is a tyrant, he has absolute power over the people. And he becomes so authoritative that he does not understand. He never understands he thinks that he has ultimate control over everything. And he never, and because of this, Pharaoh could not understand the light that entered the hearts of the magicians once they saw the magic. And when faith enters a person, it gives him a kind of happiness, a kind of satisfaction that he has arrived at the truth. This was something that Firaun could not realize at all because he was such a tyrant, such a despot. He had absolute power for such a long time. He was so used to people accepting whatever he told them to do. And over time, he started believing that he had authority even over people's minds. A king can only control the actions of people, not he cannot control the minds of people. The minds are in the control of people, isn't it? It is not in the control of the ruler. But he was so authoritative, he thought he could even control what people thought and what people did. So Pharaoh, because of this belief, he was surprised at the sudden faith of the magicians. He did not understand how people can suddenly change. These are the very magicians who were the attendants. The magicians were the attendants in temples all through Egypt. And they were gathered to prove Musa alayhi salam as false. But just the opposite happened. And so Pharaoh felt his throne shake. He was completely rattled. He was, he did what the tyrants knew to do best. He tried to suppress them. And that is what every authoritative person does. When people do not submit to him, then he makes them, a tyrant makes the people submit to him through force. He is never free. He does not give them freedom. And Firaun actually expected them to seek permission to believe. And how is that possible? And he wanted to stop the truth from entering the hearts of the magicians. He actually thought he had the power to do so. And these are the limitations of tyranny. When a person is a tyrant, he is ignorant and stupid to a certain level. He is also very arrogant and very conceited. These are the characteristics of a tyrant. So this was the typical characteristics of a Pharaoh as well. So Pharaoh realizes that, there's no peace for him. If the truth prevails in the land, then his law will be replaced by God's law. Because Pharaoh in Egypt was a self-appointed God. He passed laws. People literally worshipped him. They obeyed the laws that he told people to follow. And this was, but these are two. Now that Musa alayhi salam has come in as the messenger of God, so he is going to come with a separate set of laws. So there is the Pharaoh's law on one side and Musa alayhi salam's law on the other side, but both are two different roads. They can never meet. And so Pharaoh was confused. He was he felt that he was going to lose his position of power because these are two contradicting religions. They can never they can never exist side by side. And now these magicians or the sorcerers, they were the clergy or they were the priests. They were the ones who attributed Godhead to Pharaoh. They elevated Pharaoh to the position of God. Because even if Pharaoh is going to call himself God, there have to be people to follow him and to be sincere and loyal to him. And that is what these sorcerers did. But now suddenly, in just a few minutes, they crossed over to the other side, and Pharaoh was not able to take that in. And that is the characteristic, as I said, of any tyrant, any despot, any authoritative person. He does not care for the people, he cares for himself. He cares for his power, he cares for his luxury. He wants to remain in power and he wants to enjoy power. And he does not want to give it up at any cost. So first he comes first after the magicians and he tells, see, and what does Pharaoh say? This is a plot. Surely this is a plot. Hada la makar. Surely this is a plot. Makar tumuhu. You have plotted it. Fil madinati, in the city. Why? Why have you plotted with a plot like this? Litufriju minha ahlaha. To drive out the people from the city. Now, who's listening to the conversation? To this entire conversation, the people are the listeners. As I told you, this was a great day of the festival. Literally, this entire city had gathered to watch the contest going on between Musa alayhi salam and the magicians. Now that the magicians, whom the people looked up to, had gone into prostration, the crowd is awaiting to see what is going to happen next, because the Musa alayhi salam had won. So immediately the address or the focus shifts to the people, and he says, you have come, you magicians and the Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam is the ringleader. He is your leader, and you people are following them. Magicians are following Musa alayhi salam. Why you want to drive the people out of the city? Because he knows that he has been humiliated. He can't rely on his chiefs anymore. That is the magicians anymore. And he shifts his focus onto the people. So the only people whom he can make feel important now are the people or the masses or the major population. Initially, he tried to make the chiefs or the generals or the sorcerers important by telling them that, see, if you can come up with some great magic, I will give you a position next to me. He wanted to outdo Musa alayhi salam by making them feel important. Now that had failed. So who was the only one left? Musa alayhi salam is obviously on the other side. Now the generals or the magicians have also gone on to the other side. The only people left now are the common people, the masses, the layman. So now he's telling as though it is some kind of to arouse a patriotic feeling, to stop the people from following Musa alayhi salam and the sorcerers. He says, you've come to take us away and you have come to drive us away from the land. لِتُخْرِجُوا مِنْهَا أَهْلَهَا. You have come to drive the people away from the land. So it's now the people are watching. Now it's almost like he's instigating the people. Now this is your land, O people. Don't be quiet. These people are rebels. Musa alayhi salam and the magicians are rebels. They have come to cause confusion in the land. So you come up and you come to my side and fight against them. It's as though it was if he was arousing the patriotic feelings in the people and bringing them over to this side. So this is what happened. What Pharaoh answers to Musa alayhi salam. And what does he do next? Whatever he knows to do next, best. لَأُقَتِّيَنَّكُمْ لَأُقَتِّيَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ. Surely I will cut off your hands, وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ, and your feet, min khilafin, on the opposite sides. ثُمَّ, then, لَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ, I will surely crucify you, أَجْمَعِينَ, altogether. So look at this brutal punishment. I shall cut off your hands and feet on the opposite sides and then crucify you all. So what does he intend to do? If he's going to, he will cut off the right hand and the left feet, and then he will hang them up on the tree. He will crucify them on the tree and let them die, a painful death, a torturous death. So this is not what is he actually threatening the people with? Torture, disfiguring them, disfiguring their bodies, unabated persecution or endless persecution, torture till death. So this is, as I told you, this is the method of every tyrant. When they fail to submit to them, then they start threatening them that if you do not do what I tell you to do, then you are going to face a grave punishment, because they hope that this fear will make them come back to where they actually were. But and they cannot stop the force of truth, they cannot stop the force of faith, but they hope that they can suppress it by force. So this is a cruel punishment that Firaun threatens the people with. So what do they reply? Qalu, they said, that is, the magicians say, inna, indeed we, ila rabbina, to our Lord, munqalibun, will return. They replied, the magicians replied, surely we shall return to our Lord. So, what was the end result of what Firaun threatened the people with? That you are going to cut us off and you are going to crucify us and we are going to die ultimately. Anyway, that's what's going to happen to us anyway. Surely we are going to return to our Lord. So casually, very casually, they replied, anyway, we are going to return to our real master. At least if we submit and accept the truth, we will return to our master as good believers, as true believers. We will return with dignity. We will return with the satisfaction that we lived our lives according to the truth, or at least we changed the minute we came to know about the truth. We were convinced of the truth. Isn't it? So instead of living a disgraceful life, living a life away from the truth, we would rather die. That was the response of the magicians, because the faith had entered them. That faith was inspired. This is the faith inspired reply because of their immense love of God. So these magicians had come in with greed. Recollecting the previous verses, what did they say? When Firaun told them to come up with some good magic, they said, what will you give us? Will you give us wealth? And he said, I will give you a position next to me. So they entered into this competition with greed, with love for materialistic things, and with a low character. But what did faith do to them? Within a few minutes, it brought about a great revolution inside them, and it changed their mind and it changed their character. And they were ready to become martyrs, shaheed, for the cause of truth. That the faith was so forceful in them, and they were ready to face their biggest triumphs. So, no, and this is not the only incident that people have acted this way. There are several examples in history where, where true believers readily accept death rather than to live a life against the truth, rather than surrendering to the truth, to a tyrant, to a despot, to an authoritarian person. They say we are ready to die, and so we see many people giving up their lives for the cause of truth. Sometimes it is for the cause of Islam, sometimes it is for the cause of the country, or sometimes it is for some other noble cause. Many people prefer death. They find it highly rewarding and satisfying rather than to surrender to the true falsehood. So when faith takes hold of man, when faith enters a man and settles inside his heart, he looks at a tyrant, he looks at a despot with contempt, and he hates him, and faith becomes the top priority. Everything else comes lower to that, and he does not think about anything else, but he only thinks about what will I benefit? What will I gain? Will I gain? Will I live? Will I die in a satisfactory way? He does not care about his sacrifices or his loss. Faith takes top priority, and he's ready to give up his life because the faith inside him is unshakable, and he does not submit to any kind of worldly power because it will destroy the peace inside man into whose heart faith has entered. And this is the last ayah that we will be seeing today. Wama, and not tankimu, you take revenge, minna, from us, illa, except an amanna, except that we believe, bi ayati, in the signs, Rabbina, of our Lord. Lamma ja'atna, when they came to us. Rabbana, our Lord, afrig alayna, pour down upon us, sovereign, patience. وَتَوَفَّنَا, and cause us to die, Muslimin, as Muslims. So the magicians are asking Firaun, will you punish us just because we believed in the signs of our Lord when they came to us? And then it ends up with a dua, our Lord, shower us with patience or with perseverance and cause us to die as those who have submitted to you. So the magicians are asking, you are not revenging us, you are taking revenge upon us only for one reason, for the simple reason that we believe in the miraculous signs of Allah. So the this is the and what was the miracle that they witnessed? The actual eating of the snakes. The magicians, when they threw down the sticks, they became small snakes. And when Musa alayhi salam threw down his stick, it became a huge snake and gobbled up all the false snakes. Now, what does this show? This incident, if we only have to ponder over it a little more, then we understand certain things. See, experts in the field know the limits of their field. For example, an expert in physics or an expert in chemistry or an expert in medicine or neurosciences, he knows how far he can go. He knows how far physics can go. He knows how far human knowledge has entered into medicine, how much treatment can be offered through medicine, and where the limitations come, where he has to stop, and he knows the limits. Similarly, these people, the magicians, were experts in magic, and they knew how far magic could take them. They knew the limits of magic. And they were the top of the top, the cream of magicians, the best in the society in Egypt that time. And they knew, because they were the experts, they realized very easily what Musa alayhi salam had done was not magic. It surpassed the limitations or the boundaries of what humans could do. They clearly knew that it was a miracle, and any expert could judge that. And he had gone far beyond that. But what about the people? The people could not see that. The common people, the layman, the masses that were there who were in the gallery witnessing what was happening between Musa alayhi salam and the magicians, they did not know that. To them, this is magic, that is magic. But Musa alayhi salam's magic was better than the magic of the magicians. That was what, they could see. Just because the magicians fell into sajda immediately, it was not enough to convince the common people to also fall into sajda, because they could not tell the difference, because the magicians were the experts. The common people did not know much about magic. So they were not mature enough to understand that this is a miracle. Only the magicians could do it. So a person had to be in that magic field to understand the miracle of that had witnessed before them. No, this is at times true of the Quran too. In some time, in not just in the guidance of the Quran, but the miracle of the Quran. People who have studied Arabic in depth, they say that there is a clear difference between human speech and Allah's creative speech in the Quran. And the more and more people start appreciating the Quran more and more, they will be able to, and as they understand more and more, they will be able to understand the difference. Of course, the primary need is to see guidance from the Quran, but when someone goes deeper into a language or deeper into a study, then they understand that this is where our limitations lie, and this is where, this is the power of Allah, the supremacy of Allah takes over, and no human mind can match, no human mind can come near to the power, to the language, or the incredible words that we find in the Quran. So it's like comparing the best of what human being does to what Allah does, and they don't even stand close. And that was what, in a sense, this is just an example that I'm giving to understand, to help understand how the magicians immediately understood the power of the magic, the miracle that Musa alayhi salam had performed, and immediately it made them fall into the sajda, and the common people could not do it. Common people did not follow it because they did not know, but as they were experts, it had a huge effect on them, and they were thrown into sajda, and they were overwhelmed by it. No, and this is what, anytime we receive a message, we learn something about the Quran, or we understand the beauty of the religion, it should make us immediately prostrate. When I mean prostrate, I don't just mean physically prostrate. I mean, we should fall into obedience. actual obedience, mental obedience. Anytime we understand and we learn more, it shows a conviction, it shows a deep understanding of the faith. So this is what happened, and now, so they understood. They all this while they did not understand the power of Musa alayhi salam and the God who was with him. Now that they understood, and they fell down in prostration, and they are asking, "You will punish us only because we believed in him. Any other sin that we have done, all these days we were loyal to you. Whatever you told us to do, we did. And just because we prostrated and because of the enormity of the miracle that was there in front of us, we simply could not resist it and we've done it. Now after all these years of loyalty, you threaten us with such a barbaric punishment for one single act of prostrating to the truth. This is what and this here, the sajda is also important for another reason before, because in the surah, before, whom did we see about sajda? It was Iblis. He refused. Why did he refuse? Because of arrogance and because he was ghafil, that is, he was heedless. He was heedless to the truth. So, and that was the same action of Firaun as well. Because of his arrogance, even though the miracle was clearly in front of him, and because of his heedlessness, he refused to bow down to the truth. So so this is what we learn from this message, and how the ayah ends up. Rabbana afrig alayna sabran wa tawaffana muslimin. O Allah, pour down sabr upon us, drench us, afrig, drench us in sabr, as though it's like paint being poured over us, and the entire body is, we are entirely drenched in red or blue plain paint. So these people are asking, because Firaun threatens them with such a huge punishment, drench us in patience. Let us be soaked in patience. Where is the other place that we see this dua? In another surah, we see Surah Baqarah, we see that the same dua comes. Rabbana afrig alayna sabran wa thabbit aqdamana fansurna alal qawmil kafirin. That is when the army of Talut meets meets Jalut. The people use this dua. Now, both these duas are very much connected to Musa alayhi salam. It's interesting that this dua is repeated twice in the Quran itself. That is the first part of the dua. Rabbana afrik alayna sabran. First, it is mentioned here, the sincere followers of Musa alayhi salam, that is the magicians who were alive with him. So they ask them for patience to be poured down. And in the second instance, generations later after Musa alayhi salam, now these people were still the followers of Musa alayhi salam. They were the followers of the Sunnah of Musa alayhi salam, and the Seerah of Musa alayhi salam was very much alive among the people of Talut alayhi salam. So probably, maybe they took in the dua, because just like Musa alayhi salam was facing Firaun here, in the other incident, the people Talut and his people were facing Jalut, a ferocious tyrant, a ferocious enemy. So they repeated the same dua, the first part of the dua under the leadership of Dawood alayhi salam, pour down patience upon us. Maybe the original dua itself was passed down over to, because, and they may have used the same words, because we too come across similar situations now, isn't it? We use the dua of Adam alayhi salam, we use the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam, we use the dua of Musa alayhi salam, and probably they too use the dua that we have read here as well. So, and it draws from the story of Musa alayhi salam. And how does the verse end? وَتَوَفَّنَا مُسْلِمِينَ, and take us away as Muslims. Now, the word tawaffana is to take one's soul away. It is as though it suggests that this is not the end. You're taking us away from here and keeping us in another place. The word could have also been amitna, cause us to die or give us death. Amitna means it comes to an end. But tawaffana means you are being transported from one place to another, taken away from one place and placed into another place. So the strong belief that we are going to return to our Lord. So Allah, when you take us away from the earth and you take us to meet you, take us away as Muslims. And that is what we need. We are not interested in any possessions or any gains or any benefits in this dunya, but we would rather die as Muslims and we would rather give up our lives and meet you as true Muslims. So from today's class, we have seen the episode of Musa alayhi salam, the and his the performance of the magic in front of the people. And today's class was all about the magician's reply to the people, to Firaun, and how boldly he faced them. We learn so many things from today's ayahs. First thing is the boldness of the people in while facing tyranny, while facing a huge oppressor, yet they stand convinced to the truth because they know they are staring at death. Yet they are so bold and brave, and they would rather give up their lives. It shows their loyalty to the truth, and it is a big lesson for us how easily we cave in, how easily we surrender. We are afraid of the people around us, or what the society will tell us, talk about us if we do not follow if we follow the truth and we follow Islam sincerely. How will people judge us? But look at them. They know that they are walking into death, and yet they are so bold and so brave. And the second thing that we learn from here is that their patience and their perseverance. They know that they are going to die, and so they ask Allah, oh Allah, help us. Help us and help us be steadfast, help us die as good Muslims. And this is something that, we dying as a good Muslim, not it is not just literally to say La ilaha illallah in the mouth. Some people might be given the opportunity to say, some people may not be given the opportunity to say. It is about whether we live our lives according to La ilaha illallah. And that is what we need to keep asking Allah. Oh Allah, help us inculcate the values that La ilaha illallah teaches in every aspect of our lives till our last day in this dunya. May Allah guide us and keep us always on the right path. Wa akhir dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.